Right, when we're dealing with algebra expressions in context, it's very easy to get confused. The best advice I can give you is when you get confused, replace the letter they've given you with a number and work out if that was a number, what you would do to that number to answer the question. Once you're clear what maths you're doing, then you can write the expression with the letter in. So for example, Adrian has X pence, Cheryl has 10 pence more than Adrian. Now what does that more mean as far as the context here? If you don't know with X, ask yourself, okay, well what if Adrian has 5 pence? If Adrian had 5 pence, what would Cheryl have? Well, she'd have 15. What have you done? You've added 10 to whatever Adrian's got. Well, Adrian's got X, so you've got to add 10 to it. And that's it. You cannot do anything else with that. This one's a bit more confusing. A shirt has got 8 buttons. Write down in terms of Y the number of buttons on Y shirts. So one shirt has got 8 buttons. So 2 shirts would have 2 lots of 8, 16 buttons. 3 shirts would have 3 lots of 8. 4 shirts, 4, 10 shirts, 10 lots of 8. Y shirts, Y lots of 8. So that'll be Y lots of 8, which you could write as Y times 8, or you could write it as 8Y. It's the same thing. Okay, but Y times 8 would be fine. C. A ruler is R centimeters long. Write down in terms of R the length of a line which is 6 centimeters shorter. So that's the key word here. It's shorter than the length of the ruler. So if my ruler was 10 centimeters long, the line would be 6 centimeters shorter than 10, which would be 4. What have you done? You've subtracted 6. So you'll be R, take 6. And again, nothing else you can do to that. Question 2, again, a bit confusing. Lots of information to start with. Stan's printer prints 8 copies every minute. Julia's printer prints 11 copies every minute. Stan's printer prints for X minutes. So forget about Julia's initially, let's just look at Stan's. So every minute Stan's is printing, 8 copies are produced. So if he was printing for 2 minutes, there'd be 16 copies. If it was 3 minutes, there'd be 3 lots of 8, 4 minutes, 4 lots of 8, 100 minutes, 100 lots of 8, X minutes, X lots of 8. X lots of 8, X times 8, which is 8X. Julia's printer prints for 4 minutes less than Stan's printer. Well, we know that Stan's printer printed for X minutes. So if Julia's is printing for 4 minutes less than Stan's, then it would be less means subtract. That's how long Stan's printed for. And Julia's printed 4 less, so that's take 4. Write down in terms of X the number of copies that Julia's printer prints. Well, every minute that Julia's is printing, it produces 11 copies. That's the time that Julia's was printing for. So what we're going to do here is that's how long it was printing times 11. Alright, so that's quite tricky there to get your head around that. That's how long Julia's printer was printing for, because we worked it out in the previous section, and every one of those minutes 11 copies are being produced. Question 3 is a bit easier. Peter buys X sweets, Mary buys 6 sweets. How many do they buy in total? Well, if Peter bought 5 and Mary bought 6, they'd have 11 in total. You'd be adding them together. So the total means add. So that's how many Peter bought, that's how many Mary bought. Rulers cost 25 pence each. Write down in terms of Y the cost of Y rulers. This is a bit like the shirt button question in question 1. If one ruler cost 25 pence, 2 rulers would cost 2 lots of 25 pence. 3 rulers, 3 lots of 25 pence. 100 rulers, 100 lots of 25 pence. Y rulers, Y lots of 25 pence, which we'd write as 25y. C. A car is B meters long and a second car is 2 meters shorter. Well, shorter is going to be less, which means we're going to subtract 2 from B. So that's just B minus 2. A number is represented by the letter K. Write down a number that is 5 more. Well, more means it's bigger, you're adding, so it's going to be K add 5, or 5 add K, it would be exactly the same. 4 less than K, well, less means subtract. 3 times K means 3 multiplied by K, which we'd write as 3K, but if you wrote it as 3 times K, you wouldn't get it wrong. A number that is 7 more than 10 times K. Well, 10 times K you'd write as 10K. 7 more than it, you'd add 7. So 10K add 7. Question 5. Jack has X pence, Jill has 8 pence less. Well, if Jack's got X and Jill's got 8 pence less, you're going to take 8 pence off it. A box weighs 70 grams. Write down in terms of B the weight of B boxes. Well, one box would weigh 70, 2 would weigh 2 lots of 70, 10 would weigh 10 lots of 70, B would weigh B lots of 70, which we just write as 70B. Question 6. The length of a piece of wood is 2x plus 1. A second piece of wood is 3x longer than the first piece. Write down in terms of x the length of the second piece of wood. So the second piece of wood would be 3x more than 2x plus 1. So that's the original, and then we're going to add 3x onto it. And we can simplify that because we've got a 2x and a 3x there, which is going to be 5x, but the plus 1 just stays as it is because there's no other numbers on their own to add to it. So that one is a little bit different again because we've got an algebra that we can simplify. And that's the same in the final question in this bundle. We've got a four-sided shape, a quadrilateral, and the sides are all given in terms of x. The first thing they want is an expression for the perimeter in terms of x. Well, you should know that the perimeter is the distance that you would travel to go from one point all the way around the shape and returning back to where you started. So what we're doing here is we're starting there, we're traveling a distance of x and a distance of x plus 2 and a distance of x plus 3 and a distance of x plus 7. And we can simplify that because we've got 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x's, and in terms of numbers we've got a plus 2, plus 3 is plus 5, add 7 is plus 12. So in terms of algebra, the perimeter of that shape is 4x plus 12. Now in part B, they're actually telling us what that comes to if we know what the value of x is. The perimeter is 40. So we know the perimeter is 4x add 12, and we now know that that is in fact equal to 40. So we've turned this now into an equation which we can solve. We should be quite comfortable with this now. First thing we do is get rid of the add 12. It's an add 12, it becomes a subtract 12. 40 take away 12 is 28. Now I get rid of the times 4. 28 divided by 4, which is 7. So I know that x is 7. So if that side is x, that side is 7 centimeters. This is going to be 7 plus 2, which is going to be 9 centimeters. This will be 7 plus 3, which is 10 centimeters. And this one is going to be 7 plus 7, which is 14 centimeters. Okay, so again, it's well worth practicing questions like that because they come up very regularly and you shouldn't be afraid of them.